and see what support they provide for, you know, a system going out.
Yes, depending on the host and the service level that's provided, the backups could be nightly or weekly or whatever. They're probably nightly, and the question often is how many days of backups are retained. And the cheaper the plan, the smaller the number of backups you can resort to. But
Right.
that enables you to simply replace the current version of your site with a copy that's in the backup archive. And if nothing much has happened, if nothing's happened between a backup copy and your current state of site, then you should be able to recover quickly that way. But you have to go far enough deep enough into your backups to find a copy of the site that you can log into. So I know, for example, with an account that I've just started for a client project, not only, the nightly backups are retained for a month, and that makes it very easy to sort of pick a point in time to go back to when you know the site was working fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Who's our next person to request some assistance?
Victim. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Jack, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, boy, they the problems that are coming out are pretty tough at this meeting.
Yeah, okay. No. How about Whale or Karim or Isaiah? Are you, any of the three of you, ready to speak up? Unmute yourself.
So, hi there. Yeah, thanks for the work you guys do. Appreciate it so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, Isaiah.
I had submitted an issue with my Instagram feed on the I have there's a plugin, I believe. I'm not too technical on this, but the general idea is the Instagram feed is supposed to pop up on the website, right? But it displays an error saying that Instagram has returned an invalid data, right? And I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's the settings or something else. I'm not sure what's causing the null value will return from Instagram. So on the website, it shows I can.
Okay, let's just back up a little bit. So you're bringing your Instagram feed into a page or sidebar or what?
I think it's into a page. It's a little section on the page.
Yeah, we call those normally widgets, right?
Correct. That's the widget. You're right.
So you have a widget which displays Instagram posts, and are you using a plugin for that?
Yes, a good question. There is on the from the WordPress backend, you see there's some way where you can specify the handle, your Instagram handle.
Right, but do you know the name of the plugin?
Let me just log in.
Because actually, we don't need to know the name. If you are using a plugin to bring the feed in and display it in a widget, then other than checking the settings, if it has worked before and stopped working, then the first thing is to check if there's an update for the plugin, because the Instagram mechanism that provides this data, which is referred to as an API, may have changed. They change frequently. And that breaks plugins that depend upon them unless the plugin developer quickly updates his plugin to the change in the API. Guys, anybody else want to chip in at this point? Go ahead.
Yeah, I would see see if there is an update to that plugin. If not, and still not working, perhaps try a different Instagram plugin. There's probably more than one. I'm not all that familiar with Instagram myself, but there's usually more than one option.
Okay.
Do you recall whether your plugin is Instagram only or has other social media feeds such as Facebook or Twitter included?
I think it's the next 10 social login, and it has Facebook, Google, and Twitter.
Right, because it may be that, I mean, the more social media feeds that a plugin deals with, the more work the developer has to do to keep them up to date. I see here, just from a quick look at a quick search, that there are 10 best Instagram plugins for WordPress sites on WP Forums. There are 7 best Instagram feed plugins on WP Table Builder. So, and that's on DuckDuckGo. So, so your 2 choices are: check the settings on your plugin to make sure that they're still correct, that you haven't changed something. Check to see that the plugin has the the most recent version of it, that there are no updates pending. And then if that still doesn't work or help, there are lots of other choices of plugins, which you can try and see if they work better or do the job. And in other words, you're not really fixing the problem in the sense of the plugin, you're just finding a way to work around the problem.
Yeah, Isaiah, did you say that, are you sure that you are using the Next10 social login?
It appears it's not quite. I just dug into it, and it doesn't appear to be the Next10 social plugin. But I have that plugin on my dashboard, right?
Okay, so I guess the question is, which plugin are you using to display the Instagram feed?
If, I'm thinking I'm not 100% on that. I'm suspecting it came with the it came with the theme, right? It's a part of the theme, actually. It's not even a plugin.
Okay. All right. So the next question is there an update available for your theme?
Yeah, there is an update available, but it seems I'm using a child theme. If I do the update.
Yeah, if you just go to the section for themes in the left sidebar of the admin panel, and look for, your theme should be the first one of any group there are there, and it should say update on it if there's an update available.
Yeah, it says that. Well, I did a little bit of digging around this update, and it indicates that.
Right. Something to bear in mind, just for future reference. It's not considered a good practice to put in something like an Instagram feed into a theme rather than a standalone plugin for a variety of technical reasons. But the notion of separating what's in a theme from functionality belonging elsewhere or better managed elsewhere is pretty important. So that's something to bear in mind in selecting a theme, is that it may seem like a convenience when lots of things are included, but that just gives more things to break down and cause you headaches that are hard to resolve because they're dependent on the theme developer. Okay. As opposed to if you used an Instagram plugin, you could just get rid of that plugin and get another one. There's only a dozen to choose from, and they're all free.
Right.
So the advantage of getting it with your theme actually turns out to be a disadvantage.
Yeah, it's just that at the time they just give you the little, box to enter your. That's it, right?
Yeah, as I say, it seemed like a real convenience at one point, right? And now you're finding out that it isn't. And that's part of the learning experience, right? So soldier on.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
What's the URL for the website?
It's carlwheel.com, CARLWEI.
Can you put it in the chat session so I can go from there?
Sure. On that now.
Looks simple enough. Let's see what happens.
Share your screen, Jack.
As soon as I get there, I have to find it. Oh, come on. That's Alt Tab. Is Smash Balloon the name of the Instagram that you're using?
No.
Okay, I
Um,
have it here. Let's do a built with, because that tells you a lot. You're using MailChimp, GT Translate for Windows, WordPress plugins, MailChimp, Contact Form 7, W3 Total Cache. I don't see anything associated with the, unless I just don't know, with Instagram here among your plugins.
Yes, but that's because it's part of the theme, Jack.
You think it's part of the theme? Okay.
That's what he said 5 or 10 minutes ago.
Okay, sorry, missed that.
Yeah, I'm displaying the built-in list, and boy, there's a lot of stuff on the site.
Yeah.
So you've got lots of potential headaches.
It's been a pain.
Gee, do you have any idea why you have live writer support? Do you ever use that?
I'm not totally sure what that is. That's probably part of the team.
Well, live writer is an editor that Microsoft put out, and I think the notion is that if you use the live writer editor, it'll sort of connect to the website and let you post to the website from the editor. But I'm not sure that I know anybody who actually uses it. You're better off using the WordPress client to do that. If you want to like write a post with a desktop client and then post it without going to your site, then what do they just call that, the WordPress client? What do we call that thing?
The first time I've heard of it.
Oh, you've referred to it a number of times. I bet perhaps WordPress.com,
Oh,
client.
WordPress.com, yeah. But
It's not WordPress.com,
oh,
the
okay.
hosting end of it. It's WordPress.com, the desktop client.
yeah, I remember hearing about this years ago. It was all the rage for a while, and then people just stopped talking about it. I forgot. It has a project name which I've forgotten.
I'll just yeah, it's called WordPress.com. And what do they say about it? I'm on version 6.15.
Live writer support is on the site as well.
All right.
That's the Microsoft product.
Okay, I'm going to kill this.
Isaiah, I'm looking at your site now, but I don't see where I see follow us on Instagram, right? I see it. Okay.
Where's that, Drew?
It's about, if you scroll down about halfway down the page of products, you'll find follow us on Instagram. It's a section.
And then it says
And
Instagram has returned invalid data.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that the answer to the question that the API, the API, Instagram API isn't properly set up with the theme-based mechanism that pulls in the data, right?
Yeah, it says Instagram has returned invalid data.
Yeah.
Which just means it's not connecting and working as
Right.
the API is intended to be used. And that's what I mentioned earlier on, that, you know, the likely reason for the thing not working is that the API has changed, but the plugin or the mechanism used hasn't been updated by the developer. And these APIs do change regularly, Twitter and, you know,
Yeah,
Facebook and so on. And as a result, they break these widgets until, so therefore you want a really popular plugin for social media where you are confident that the developer will, within a day or the same day as the API changes on Twitter, he'll have an update out so that it continues to work.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Okay, yeah, that that is probably a likely explanation for what's going on, because all the settings that were required, I've tried to use that. I'm not sure yet how to locate the plug. If I decided to go the plugin route, how I can locate it in this widget that's where it's supposed to be at, right? That's one concern I have. I've not really, I'm not sure I could find a good solution if I use the plugin to also display it in the same widget without really reworking the structure of the page. I don't know if you have ideas.
Isaiah, do you know if there's an update available for this theme?
Yes, there is an update available when I look at it, right?
Well, the update might actually include an updated connection to the Instagram API.
Oh, I found Mark's cube.
That might be true, but my fear at the moment is because I use the child copy of the theme to create this, right?
Right. However, the child theme pulls everything from the parent theme. So if you update the parent theme, it effectively updates the child theme.
Yo,
It does?
this is in Canadian.
It does, yeah.
Oh,
Any.
okay.
I mean, in general terms, that's true. It might, there are some cases where that isn't true, but generally speaking, I think that's true. You should definitely do the update of the theme at all costs, and continue to update the theme when changes become available, because otherwise you're going to run a variety of risks that don't have pleasant consequences.
That is quite true, which leads us into the next issue I had. I used the plugin Contact Form 7. If you look at the side at the bottom, it says, even on Built With, right, you see there, Contact Form 7. But I had a problem lately where that plugin was compromised, and they used it to inject some code to run spam off of my mail server. I don't know if that has been a general problem lately, if it's something you're aware of.
I haven't heard of a problem with Contact Form 7, but it's one of the most widely used plugins. So if there was a security flaw in it, it would be updated pretty quickly. So
You'd also see a lot of Twitter, Facebook, and other social media traffic from people experiencing that problem. right?
Yeah, because it happened to the point where the domain host had to shut down the site because it was just pushing out like millions of spam mails through that compromise, right? I had to shut it down because if you look at the site, I actually disabled the plugin, and then I read something about what's it called? That plugin being compromised recently. They said there's an update, but I don't know. I've been a little hesitant to reactivate the plugin because I want to talk to people that know a little more about what's happening so that before I can do that, right?
Yeah, Contact Form 7 is a very widely used plugin, and you want to make sure that all of your plugins are updated regularly to avoid exactly this kind of issue.
Yeah, automatic update.
Okay. You believe that should be able to resolve whatever issues come up, right?
That's your best bet, yeah.
You have another problem, and that is I did a GT metrics on your homepage, and you have a 7 to 8 second response time, and the web core vitals are poor as well. So you've got a couple of problems to attend to beyond Instagram or resolution of the Instagram situation.
Oh, what was that again, Sarah? You lost me for a bit.
You can get a performance test on your website by going to GT Metrics, METRIX.com. You put in the URL for your site, and bang, it comes up with a pretty good report on how well your site is performing. You got a problem.
What are you seeing as
And yet you also have a total cache, which is a good plugin, a caching plugin enabled. So it's not clear why the response time is so slow. If you look at go to GT metrics,
Jack, I'm sharing my screen and we're just now waiting on the GT metrics report. There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see for yourself and how straightforward it is. You really should display these things, Jack, rather than just talking about them. It makes much more sense for people when they can see it rather than just listen to it.
Yeah.
So here's a GT metrics report. Anybody can have a page or their site tested by using this free service. And then it goes through details here and explains things, and then deals with things, total page size, requests, how many times do you have to hit on the server in order to build the page? And that's an important aspect. Do they count the number of DOM nodes in GT metrics? Yeah, so there's here, avoid an excessive DOM size, just where my cursor is. We had a case a month or two ago where an Elementor page generated 2,300 DOM nodes, which of course was flagged on everything from, Lighthouse and GT metrics and everybody else. But page builders are known for what they refer to as bloat in that regard. But in any event, so here you have the GT metrics page, which will give you tips on how to improve the performance of your site. Because we all know that
good suggestions.
Yeah, the number of seconds that a person waits to see a page displayed is important from an SEO point of view, as well as their own experience of the site itself. So let me stop that share. Okay, are we finished with this particular set of issues?
I have a couple of other thoughts on the performance issue on the site. The first thought is the theme itself. This is the,
I never did.
I did see
Awesome.
what theme it was, but it was,
Flat sum, right?
let's see. I have to open that page again.
Are you
But
looking at
it's a,
built with?
no, I'm looking at WP Scan.
Okay,
But it's it looks like a theme forest theme. They're known for their feature bloat, and they're not. Yeah, it is flat sum. Yeah. And I don't know this particular theme, but the theme forest themes are really known for their feature bloat and their poor performance. So you might do better with a faster theme. The other thought is better hosting. I see you're hosted on NetFirms or a NetFirms affiliate called iPage. It's owned by a company called EIG, which is known to have a policy of putting as many clients as they can on a server, just to get as much money as they can out of the clients with and run as cheaply as possible. So if you're running an e-commerce site, you really probably want to have dedicated managed WordPress hosting. That's going to be a lot faster rather than a cheap shared host like this. So I think you're going to do a lot better with better quality hosting and a better quality theme.
Yes.
How do you distinguish
Yes,
between?
also shows that your time to first byte is 4 seconds. Normally, it's down in the 1 second range. So you're taking a big hit from the server.
Interesting. How do you determine host speeds?
basically, I think myself by the price of the service. Within a certain range, paying more gets you more features. One key feature being performance, another
Right.
being security, another being backups, another being, well, the dashboard that's provided to you. But performance is definitely something which, as you pay more, the hosts pay more attention to, and generally with good results. Drew and Jack, is that your experience that there's a fair correlation between the price and the performance?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, if you're paying $4 a month for your hosting, the host is going to have to put an awful lot of clients on that server to justify that cost.
Okay.
And to run on hosting services of late, and I had hoped to do a meetup on that, and it's just it's a huge amount of work to get all the facts together.
Well, and of course, much of the important stuff isn't factual. It's the experience people have of actually using the service. And whatever performance you get out of a particular host at one point in time on a given day, 2 hours later or 24 hours later, it could be quite different result. But as you pay more, not only does the performance generally improve, but the consistency and the performance should also improve. So while there may be ups and downs, the ups and downs won't be as severe as a cheaper host who has fewer resources and less call on additional resources when needed. Okay, so let's move on.
Thanks a lot for the help.
Okay, Isaiah. Yes, Jackson, you had your hand up. Would you like to go next?
Oh, thank you very much, sir. This is my first time. I've been trying so hard to join you guys, but this is my first opportunity. I also had difficulty trying to get on online, but thank you very much. I am totally a novice. I wouldn't be able to discuss these matters at the same level as you guys. But what I would like is if I could have a one-on-one sometime. I don't mind if you guys charge me a professional fee. I'm willing to do that. I am trying to make a website. I'm having issues. Like today, I tested the website and the speed was, I mean, scored 25%. And I think 25% is really, it was in a red. So I'm not sure why it is slow. I really would like to, have even half an hour with someone to look at it. Right now it is at a development site. I don't really remember the URL quite well, but really that's what I'm looking for, so that I'm eager to learn.
Let me suggest, put your name and email address into the chat message. And then whoever is in the session tonight who wants to contact you, I'll send you an email. And
Actually,
if you want
I'm not even sure that I can find the chat here. Chat.
if you look at the bottom of your window,
Okay, there I
there's a
see
big
it.
green button that says share screen, and then beside that it says chat. So if you click on chat, a little
Okay,
window will pop up.
okay, so I'm gonna put on my name and I'll put my email address.
Yeah, and then whoever wants to contact you, I would give it, a day tomorrow and see who's interested. And
Yes, please.
you can
I
go
will
from
put
there.
on my phone number
Sure,
as well.
whatever.
416-992.
And just if hopefully no one will add this to their mail list, but I don't think there's a big risk in that regard.
Jackson,
Okay, so I
if
see-
you could possibly remember the address of the
URL.
website itself, we could might be able to give you some ideas right now.
Oh no, I can't even forward it to you even now, but I have it. It's just that I have to go and get it from my email.
Well, if you want to do that and come back, if it takes you 5 minutes or something, we'll take someone else and then come back to you.
Yeah, we're
Sure,
here
please,
till
thank you.
8:30.
So what I have to do, just type it up in the message area?
Yeah,
if
make
you
sure
put it
it's-
in the chat is best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me do that.
The best thing to do is display it in your browser. So you see your
Okay.
homepage, and then just
Okay.
copy the URL from the browser window and paste it into the chat message. And then that
Okay.
way we just click on it.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Before we go on to the next person, I thought I would just take a moment and show you guys what the WordPress.com desktop client looks like. There it is. And if I bring up the About box, it's strange enough. I mean, I hate people who name things in this fashion because you always have to append to this name, WordPress.com, desktop client, because there is a much bigger entity called WordPress.com, which is a hosting company. So what this is an application that runs on your desktop, is connected to one or more sites. If you've got one site, 5 sites, whatever, they would be listed up here where it says all my sites. And it's just a nicer interface, some would say, than the one provided in the admin.php backend or admin panel of a standard WordPress site. So what you can do is you can create a post or a page, write it up here in the desktop client, which I haven't actually used in about 6 months. So as soon as you start it up, it needs an update naturally. But it's free to download, free to use. And it's also, I forget how it works, but you can list WordPress sites that it will then turn into an RSS feed of the publishing from those sites, so that it's an RSS feed reader, I guess is the proper term for it. Right, so that's what the desktop client looks like, and on a Mac at least. And let me just
And
stop
what's the
sharing.
URL?
I'm sorry?
What's the URL?
Here, I'll give it to you. Here's the search, because there's the WordPress.com support for the client, and the apps page. And then this search page will tell you how to install it. And
Okay,
there's a WP beginner article on it, how to use it for your self-hosted blog. If there's a Kinsta article, well, Torque Mag is WP Engine. So that particular one here, I'll show you. Not following my own rules. So here's the Google search. And this one would be high quality. The WP beginner one would be good quality, but of course pitched for novices or beginners. And I don't see a Kinsta one here, but this is only the first 10. So that's where you go to get it. And I'm surprised that I'm the one to bring this up. In any event, that's the desktop client. I will start using it again because I can probably wonder if I can hook it up to my local app, because I'm using that a fair bit, and that would be handy as well. So did we want to? No, we haven't gotten Jackson's yet. So let's see, we have Darwin who's here but hasn't made a request yet. How about Karim? Either of you two want to go ahead? Is it Karim or Karim?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, is it Karim or Karim?
No, Karim.
Karim. Good
Yes.
evening, Karim. What's
Thank
your
you.
problem?
So basically, I'm actually with Bluehost, partnered with WordPress. So basically, my problem is I need to simplify my URL.
Simplify your URL.
Yes.
Okay.
Because actually the reason why, because I'm able when I'm doing the put the spaces in the Bluehost, like before posting it, but when I'm posting it, it is not putting spaces.
Karim, can you post the URL for your website in the chat so we can all go and have a look at it?
yep.
And then the other thing would be to,
Yes, of course.
so your problem is with, say, a post, that when you provide the name, the slug is the name of the thing that you create, which is appended to your domain name for a post or a page. So is it a problem you're having then with this part of the URL that you create when you create the page or post? Is that the problem?
No, wait a moment. I will put the website and I will tell you what's the problem exactly.
Okay. So I see
sorry,
that
sorry.
Jackson's put his URL up and it does work.
Sorry, wait a moment. I need to improve
Sure.
it.
Okay, so it's,
No. This is the wrong one. Wait a moment.
Big football.
no, it's probably not that.
This one.
Okay, because the other one didn't work anyway. Let's try it out.
I am not able to get the second one.
The last one, right?
Yeah, the last one. Yeah.
I sent the last one. Is the right URL for that page.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so the third try, let's see if that works. Yes, it does. So the last one's a good one.
Yes. Can you basically share it on the screen?
Yes,
I'm
why
on-
don't you open up the site, go to the dashboard, and then go to where you're creating the thing that's giving you a problem, and then and share your screen so that we can see it. Because your
Yeah,
question,
wait a moment. I'll see. Try.
right?
I'll try to put the video or something in order to appear.
Now just display in a web page, your site, looking at the admin dashboard or admin page, right? And then use the share screen button at the bottom of your Zoom window in the middle, the green one.
Yeah, wait on a moment, actually.
Sure.
Okay.
While Darwin's doing that, Jackson has given us the URL for his site, which is Canada Plate and Profiles, Inc.
That's right, sir.
Carbon steel, plasma, and flame cutting. Woo. I remember watching those motorcycle building shows and they had water jet cutters. And I thought to myself, well, I can understand a plasma cutter, but like cutting steel with water.
With
geez,
water?
how does that work?
Oh, it's a lot of pressure.
Oh, of course. I mean, it would hardly be what your toothpaste generates.
It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe.
Yeah. Okay. So back to
Yeah,
Darwin,
Jack-
and then we'll come back to you,
Okay.
Jackson, after Darwin.
Yeah, actually, I don't know how to share the screen. It's not working. How
Well,
do I need to
perhaps-
share the screen?
Perhaps
Okay,
you
how
can,
does your-
a lot of us can see your site if we've got it up on our screens. Maybe you can just describe the issue that you're having.
Yeah, all right. So basically, there is no spaces. That's the problem. There is no spaces. I need to make like as a professor. You see, like a word known website, they basically make it spaces. But mine, you see that no, there's no spaces next to it. All of it are down, down, down. That's the problem.
Okay, I'm having a
Oh.
little trouble understanding what it is you're referring to as not having spaces. So you're saying in the URL for a page or the site or whatever, you're putting spaces in and they're not being maintained.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm putting
Okay, wait a second. In the way URLs work, there is no such thing as a space. Spaces are automatically replaced by %20, and that's what stands for space in the way URLs work. So
Yeah.
if you leave a space, then WordPress will automatically fill that space in with what I just described, because there are no spaces allowed.
Darwin, are you actually referring to vertical space in the text on the page itself? If you look at say a blog article, like I'm looking at your on one of your blog article that says why Liverpool signed Darwin Nunez.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And there's some headings. Yeah, some headings, but there's no space between paragraphs, for example.
Yeah, so basically, for example, when I say let's start to number one, I needed, for example, after the let's start to number one, I need the number one alone, like it's spaces alone, like it's have one ends at least. Like someone have when someone put advertising or something in their blog, and basically it make it like simple,
What does that have to
Okay.
do with URLs though? That's what I don't understand.
I don't think it does. I think this is spacing in the body text.
Yeah,
This
I
is
know,
what-
but this also one of the problem. But the reason why I need to simplify it because someone told me, like experienced, he told me that to improve the website I need to simplify the basically URL. I don't know what does mean URL exactly, but this what they mean. So I thought that so one of the problem is like spaces, like insert the spaces is not working on the blog,
But insert the spaces in what?
in the blog post.
All right. So that, just to give you a little hand here, that's something that falls under the topic of layout. How is the page or post laid out in terms of, paragraph spacing, the space before and after a heading, and so on. Those are all considered part of the layout. It's got nothing to do with the URL for the post. I assume you're using the classic editor, so-called.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it's in classic editor. Yeah, correct. Because I don't have right now plugin.
Right, but you don't know for sure though whether it's the classic editor or something called the block editor, do you?
No, it is actually classic. Like through Bluehost.
Well, neither of those come through the host.
Yeah, so basically it's classic. I didn't do anything. I didn't put anything.
Okay, but I mean, if you didn't do anything, then it isn't the classic editor. But it would really help if you could display your admin page and we could just simply look at a post or a page and see what editor you have to choose from. But if it, let's assume it's a classic editor, then how does one adjust the spacing between paragraphs? Because how does one in the classic editor improve the spacing of paragraphs as we see this particular post? You know, I'll display it.
Yeah, I'm not showing the classic editor plugin showing on the list of found plugins on this site. So I suspect that this is
you see actually, like as I'm saying, like here, for example, this start, for example, I needed to go down, for example, 1 inch under the club, under the full stop, you know? That's what I mean.
What, sorry, tell me again where to go.
Up, go up.
Yep.
Up. You see actually no, down. You see this one, these starts, for example.
Yep.
That, yeah, so basically I needed, for example, this one to go down.
To go down.
Yeah,
Like down below the block.
No. Actually, yeah. 1 inch, like instead, like
you want space
here the club.
You want space.
Yeah, between... I need. Yeah, down. Like I mean, the space is to be like 1 inch at least. You know, like instead of being confused, like because in the when the phone everything is down, everything is equal to each other. So
right.
so
well,
people
just,
paragraph. You want to put a paragraph.
Yeah, let me interrupt for a second.
Paragraph, exactly.
Okay, let me interrupt just for a second because it makes a big difference which editor you're using. But I'm sure in the classic editor, there's a default paragraph spacing. So I wonder how that could be caused here, or how a problem could be caused. There is an issue when the Gutenberg transition began to occur with the site updates, that if you opened a post after Gutenberg started, then it would turn all the posts into one single block called a classic block. And I don't know what would control the spacing in a classic block. In an ordinary block, the spacing is provided by the block itself, and you wouldn't have this problem unless you deliberately turn the top and bottom margins to 0. You wouldn't have the spacing issue. So unless we can see the, you know, the
how to basically make it to 0.
Well, you don't want to make it to 0 because, I mean, it depends on the editor. Okay, you know, in the block editor, you select the block in question, and then in the right sidebar, there'll be a margin setting field that you can fill in or change, and that will change either that block or all the blocks you selected. So editing it in the block editor to change this issue, change this particular aspect of the post would be relatively straightforward. But without seeing a post from the point of view of the editor, we're guessing here. Are you sure you can't figure out how to get into your own admin.php page?
No, but basically I know I'm trying to do it on the phone, but the website is
okay.
I don't
well,
know.
Come back when you can display your site, and we can probably solve the problem in a couple of minutes. Yeah. It's just that without being able to see what it is that you're doing, then there are too many different possibilities to go through them all and have you remember any of them. Unless Drew or Jack or somebody else has a better suggestion. Drew?
No, I think we really have to see it. So the best thing to do would be to log into the site and join the call from a computer so that we can actually see what you're doing when you're editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, or All right. Basically, like I see it. It is actually classic editor, like is a normal editor. You know,
Okay,
nothing.
that's not the normal editor, that's the classic editor.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, classic. Yeah.
And so when you select a paragraph in the classic editor, there are margin settings, top and bottom, for a paragraph somewhere in the classic editor. Somehow the default spacing of your paragraphs has been zeroed out, and now they immediately follow one after the other, which gives you this very crowded and difficult to read problem.
Yes.
But without being able to see what you're actually doing in the classic editor, so if you Google WordPress, quote, classic editor, close quote, paragraph margins, I mean, I'll do it right now.
Without seeing the site, we can't really be sure that he is using the classic editor. He doesn't appear to have the classic editor plugin, which suggests that this may in fact be the block editor.
Exactly, Drew.
I think we should really be careful about making assumptions and jumping to conclusions here without actually looking.
True. I just hate to turn somebody away.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Maybe like the spaces will maybe we'll I will try to see, but actually I have a bigger issue. So basically in the so basically I'm trying to say, like to change the name, for example, in the Bluehost, like I needed to make it simplified instead of the URL, for example, or something, the name of the company of my website, I need it to be shorter than the username that I'm basically doing it on the login. But when I'm doing it, it's saying no, it's wrong. Sometimes it's getting me out. So I know I need to solve that solution.
So are you saying you don't like the name, the big football league lover.com?
No. Basically, I like that name, but I need to make it short, you know?
Short.
Yeah. So I need to basically, for example, make it short, but doesn't affect my username and password. Well, that's what's actually the same as my username, you know. So I don't want it to be, if I sorted the name, for it to be affected my username, because I tried it in the past and didn't work, and they told me no, it's not working. The password it is different password or something. If you don't remember, please put forget password. So that's what happened. But then
whoa. Let's see if we can sort out. It's hard to understand what it is you're asking here. It sounds like you're asking, I have a long domain name, bigfootballleagueslover.com. That is your domain name.
Yes, exactly.
Are you saying that you would like to shorten your domain name? Is that your question?
Yeah. Basically, I wanted to appear on the website.
Just a second. So just let's keep it to simple questions. So you're saying I have a long domain name. I want a shorter domain name. So is that the question?
Yes, I want a shorter domain
name.
I mean, but without it being affected.
Wait a second. It's yes or no. Okay, just let's go step by step here. So you want a shorter domain name. There is no procedure for shortening a domain name. You get a new domain name that is the length you want, and then you convert your site from the old domain to the new domain. And of course, your email addresses will change and so on.
No, sorry, something here. No, I actually need to keep the same domain name, but actually in the Google URL, I need to be shortened. You know, that's what I mean.
Karim, is the issue that you're having when you try to log into your site that it's simply difficult to type in your username and password?
No, the username and password is working, but say for example, I will give you, so I have
Hang
it right
on.
now.
Let's not go into the examples. Let's just try to identify what the request is.
Well, I'd actually like to, maybe Karim could actually show us what the difficulty is he's having.
Yeah, but he's not able to reach his back, his back end in any form, right?
Wait a
Would that
moment,
not
please.
include a login? He's on a phone right now,
Yeah, I am actually on my
Oh, you're
phone.
on the phone? Oh, okay.
right? And so being on a phone, he's unable to
Right.
do anything with his site other than
Right,
give us the URL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think this is something we really need to see.
Well, if the question is, how do I shorten my domain name? I think the answer is pretty simple. You
Yeah.
can't. What you can do is pick a new domain name, right? And then change the domain name of your site from the long one that you've currently got to a new, shorter one. Now, if you want to retain the old domain name just to use, wait a second.
Sorry, continue, go.
If you want to retain the old domain name for some reason, like email, there are ways to do that that are simple and straightforward by having the email hosted somewhere.
Yeah, and you can do a
but-
redirection.
But shortening a domain name is not possible. It doesn't, there's no mechanism or procedure
simple
for
way
it,
to do
and for good reason. It would not make any sense to have shortened domain names, because any change to one domain name either creates a new domain name, which you have to register, or it is a domain name that somebody else has and it isn't available. It's like either or proposition with nothing in between. That's what I originally started out when you were saying you want to shorten your URL.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
possible.
So basically, I'm actually in the phone. I'll try to put the start video if there is it can happen. FaceTime. Wait a moment. I need to go.
No, what you need to be on is a desktop or notebook machine so that you can see your website back end, the admin page, and then share it with us. I mean, you can share it with us, I guess, on the phone too, but for some reason that doesn't seem to work for you. A desktop browser should be able to do it, but we can then resolve the question of where are your margins, where are the margin settings that are controlling the layout of paragraphs. We can resolve that. And then this question of spaces is in the layout. But shortening your domain name, as I say, is an impossibility, except by getting a new domain name, registering it, changing the domain name of the site, and going through there's a process with a number of steps to it to change a site's domain name. It's not particularly technical, but it's non-trivial in the effort required.
Long-winded.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I can simplify the problem. So basically, for example, WordPress address URL and site address URL. So WordPress address URL is the one that I'm basically make it log in, but the site address I need to make it like sorter.
Right. Okay. We've spent enough time on this. I think this shortening question, to the best that we can, we've given you the answer for it. No, you can't shorten it. You have to get a new one. So we don't want to rework that ground unless
of course
you're actually asking for something completely different than what we think. And that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for your help.
Let's move on. Let's move to Jackson. Are you still there?
Thank you for your help.
Okay, then, no problem.
Yeah.
Do come back when you can show us the site, and then we can get to the bottom of several of your questions quite quickly, I think.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, Jackson, you're up.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. So, yes, we have, boy, you've got
Can you do that test you did? I want to see what the issues are.
Sure. Let me do it for us all. It's gtmetrics with an x.com. And then,
Jackson, can you remind us what your original question was?
Oh, my question is that it's very slow.
Oh,
It's really slow.
okay, so here we go. It'll take a second for this analysis to complete.
I know I have a video at the intro, so probably that could be one of the problems.
Well, you'll see that they measure a number of things. One of which is, the first bytes to reach the screen from the server. And that
Right.
would not depend upon the video, but rather, probably the HTML would come very fast. Okay,
Mhm.
so here we are. Performance 56 is pretty low.
Notice he has a good startup time. Takes only less than a second to get started. Whereas the other one at Carlwell was 6 seconds or 4 seconds.
Yeah.
So this is the 0.8 is the start time?
Yeah, that's the time it takes to get the first byte
Okay,
from the server to the user.
So at
Okay.
TTFB is time to first byte.
Yep.
Byte is in BYTE.
right.
First contentful paint is the first thing that somebody actually sees as a user, right?
Right.
The largest chunk of content, 3.7 seconds, that's starting to slide into the not so good.
Yeah.
Fully loaded, 8 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if it's the sort of site where people can't get the content that you offer anywhere else, they'll wait 8 seconds. But if there's lots of people who just drop in on the site, wanting to have a look around, see what it's about, 8 seconds is a long time for them to wait to see
Yep.
a whole page.
What's the
2 or
average?
3
About-
seconds would be much better.
How many?
2-3 seconds. I mean,
Wow.
lots of people say 1 second, 2 seconds, but realistically,
Okay.
most major sites don't display that. New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Globe and Mail, the Toronto Star don't get under the 2 second target that people say you should be trying for.
Right.
So it's more a practical question. Anyway, as you make changes to the site and try to find things to improve, you keep
Yes.
coming back to a measurement site like this.
Right.
And there are others. This is not the only one, but it is a popular one. And so each scanning measurement site will have a slightly different combination of things that they measure, aside from a core number that are common to all.
Right.
But work with GTmetrix for now, and then if you need more, you just Google scanning and measurement sites.
Right. There's one I use.
Or GTmetrix competitors. If you Google that,
Yeah.
everybody else will turn
Alternative.
it. Yeah,
That's
or alternatives, sure. Competitors, alternatives, same thing.
Okay.
Anybody, Drew or Jack, you want to make any comments on the performance stats?
It's strange. It looks like the server is getting the stuff out, but then there's those long times. And let's see, reduce initial server response time. I'm surprised they demand that. Avoid enormous network payloads. Okay.
Oh,
And so here you got a list of what those payloads
okay.
are.
And those are
Okay.
big.
So there's your MP4 at the top of the list, which is actually, as MP4s go, is
Mhm.
quite modest.
Okay.
Have you used a image optimizer on your images?
I tried, but I would like to go back and also reduce, maybe take out stuff in a media file.
Right.
Take out the thing
Just
that I'm
bear
not
in
using.
mind that
Mhm.
the optimization you get from a given service or plugin is, as usual, dependent on its cost. Free
Right.
plugins do not deliver the same amount of compression in images that paid for services or plugins provide. I use a service called Tiny, what is it called anyway? I've used it enough that I just type in TINY. It's tinypng.com. And
I've seen that plugin. I
no,
think
that's
I
not a
might.
plugin, that's a service.
A
And
service.
the difference is that you go to the service, do what you want to your images, then you upload them to the media library.
Tiny, what is it called again? Tiny what?
tinypng.com. Here, I'll give you the URL. Tiny.
There's a number.
There's lots of these services. I just happen to find this one is a good compromise for a quick and dirty, free one. There's the link for it.
Okay.
And it'll take up to 20 images at a time, maximum of 5 megabytes each. But there's nothing terribly special about that service. Jack's probably got another one. Drew, do you use a plugin or a service or neither or both?
Plugin,
That's Smush?
Smush, yeah.
Smush?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the plugin's spelled SMUSH.
SH, yeah.
SH. And I personally didn't like it. I tried it and then I went back to using the online service, partly because that suits my workflow. I'd rather do the image optimization before I upload to the server. And just something to bear in mind, and not to make the mistake that I made a couple of years ago, or more than that, 3 years ago. I thought it would be nice to have in my media library a variety of choices of images that I didn't upload specifically for a given page or post, but were just like what a library is, right? More copies of things seemed like a good idea. What did that do? It blew up my backups, doubled their size. And since I'm not actually using all those images, it was really a dumb thing to do. And now I'm going through the process of removing the unused images, for which there are plugins to tell you unused images. And so cut down the size of the media library by half. And that means fewer things to optimize, fewer things to back up, but fewer choices when it came to authoring something. So it's much better in practical terms to have a whole bunch of images on your local machine, right? And then choose the one you want for a page or post and upload it when it's ready to be used. And then not use your media library as a storage area for images you may want in the future, but you're not, they don't have a specific poster page in mind. And then go ahead.
Can videos be optimized as well, or you just have to chop them?
No, but remember that optimization involves reducing the resolution of the image or the video. So the quality becomes the key factor. And most of the time I get, 60, 70, 80% reductions in size with no noticeable loss in the image itself. But I'm much less experienced with videos. But if you look for, free MP4 optimization service, you'll get a bunch of choices, and then you just upload the video in question, and they'll give you a bunch of choices and settings. The size of the video, the speed it runs at, the actual resolution of the video. But 1.7 megabytes isn't that big. It must be a relatively short video.
It is. I cut it so short now.
Yeah. So an alternative to cutting it short is just to more heavily optimize it, or reduce the width and height. Because the fewer pixels displayed, the fewer pixels have to be in the file to be displayed. Guys, any other thoughts or suggestions?
Manual compression sometimes is better. Use the Squoosh. That's SQUOOSH .app. It's a Google app, and it does a superb job of compression and resizing if you want of your images.
So that's SQUOOSSH?
OOSH.app.
Yeah, I just put an app and it'll come up, swoosh.
Right, right.
These names are, I don't know what name creator thought this was a brilliant idea, but
They try to be unique
yeah.
because
but I
if
mean,
they
at
want
what
it
expense,
squash,
though?
squash
At
is
what
already
expense?
taken. Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind would, oh, here's this great app, swoosh. Oh, okay. Can you spell it out? Oh, so spell it out again. Sorry, I still didn't get that. What was it again? Like 3 times, 4 times it takes you. Anyway, that's a good suggestion. You'd mentioned, Jack, and I got it, but I just can't recall off the top of my head, a Windows app that's free on the desktop. Is it Relic or something like that? Jack?
Yeah, that does general optimization.
Is it called Relic?
I can't remember. It's REL, not Redis. Redis does objects optimization. I'd have to look it up.
Anyway, I tried it and it worked fine. It just wasn't that convenient being a Windows app because I run Windows on a virtual machine. And anyway, personally, I prefer desktop and online services to the plugins. But as I explained, it's because of the way that I work and that may not suit other people with the way they organize their work. But Google does tend to make pretty good stuff. Although its reputation is suffering of late, it's, well, suffering a lot. As is, its executives get hauled into one court after another. But give this swoosh a try and drop or paste. So it's either installed app or an online service, depending on what your preference is.
Okay.
And I put the link into the chat window.
I've seen the URL you've given me for Tiny PNG and Scoosh. Thank you.
So I would just give them a whirl and pick the one you like best. I mean, you can take the same image, try it on Scoosh, try it on Tiny, and see which one does a better job. And that's a simple way to compare them. I think he just went offline.
Yeah, he disappeared.
Yeah, sounds like an internet connection problem. That was Jackson, right? Well, he'll come back. All right. We haven't heard from Whale. That's a name. Are you there, Whale?
Hi. Good evening. I'm here.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Not very well. Are you on a telephone?
Okay, let me try.
I mean, we'd prefer you to be on a desktop machine. In fact, I hope I remember to add to the Meetup announcement page. Do use a, zoom into this meeting from a desktop rather than a phone, so that you can share, your site's admin page.
Better?
Much better.
Okay, all right. I have a site, and
So first of all, give us the URL to the site in the chat
Okay.
window. That's
Okay.
We'll start there.
All right.
This is a touchy-feely sort of thing. Well, when we're looking at the site, it just seems to make more sense.
It makes it a little bit easier for you, yeah. For us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the site, I have I installed what is called a particle JavaScript, and I discovered when I installed that, it made the site slow. I tested it on GTmetrix, and it was quite slow.
And so what JavaScript were you referring to?
It's called particles.
Oh, right. And that's the thing that that shows the graph display.
Yes.
Right behind us. And actually, I have a write-up on that particular JavaScript script. because that's such a cool thing. And actually, when you touch the thing with your cursor, right, it responds.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So it's like
But yeah,
super cool.
But it actually makes the site very slow. It
Right.
makes the loading process very slow. So
But wait a sec. There's a way with the inspector on the browser to tell us how much time it's taking to get that script displayed. Drew or Jack, do you want to handle that? Because
Don't know how to do it for JavaScript.
no, not the JavaScript, but just using the inspector to identify
Oh,
which of the 5 or 6 tabs is going to have the
yeah, I know,
network.
exactly.
Right.
You got to search.
No, so Drew, do you want to try it or shall I give it a
Yeah, yeah. Why don't you give it a try, Robin?
Okay, you guys are really leaving it to me. All right,
Little abandoned ship.
let me share my screen. And all right, let me get a bigger window to boot.
Windows kicked me out.
Okay, give us a second and let me just see if I'm getting the right one here. Hang on. All right, so I want to make this a bigger window. So let's choose a bigger window. Well, that's a little bigger. Okay, so we go to Inspector, which can be done as a pop-out. Why am I going so slow? Oh, there it is. It's already popped out. Which means you can't see it then, right? Damn. So let's bring it back. Why is it? Give me a second here. It should be rejoining the window. It's not that one because that's, anyway, this is supposed to go back into the window. No, that won't work. Hang on. Anyway, if we go to this, there's our JavaScript. We don't want that. What we want is something to do with the network and console. There should be one of these that says network, request blocking, network, animations, changes, console. No, not there. Computed layout, event listeners. Oh, maybe it's here, hide network. Okay, it says hide network, so it's not hidden. Somewhere in here. Hide hidden. Mixed content. Okay, failed to load resource at error block by client. Okay, well, one of the things that you've got is mixed content, and therefore you're not getting the green lock on your site that's highly desirable. Do you understand what mixed content refers to?
Robin, it looks fine on your, when I'm looking at your screen, it looks like you've got a lock.
Yeah, but this is a lock here, right?
Yeah,
That's not green.
it's not?
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's they don't make, it's not green anymore. They don't make it.
It's auto SSL. That was the plugin I used. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not the question you're asking. I'm just not familiar enough with this thing to find. So one of these guys is the
JavaScript time.
will enable us to see how long it's taking to handle that JavaScript. And it may not be a performance issue, or it may be a performance issue. Let me kill this because it's not helping us. Oh, wait a second. God, here it is. There you go, guy. Okay, so what we want is JavaScript, which means filter. Maybe can we get JavaScript? Invert to there it is, JS. 98 requests. It's not showing us anything. Why isn't it giving us anything at all? Okay, so this is not being very helpful, or let's try performance. Okay, so let's see what this has to say. Anyway, this is a very useful tool. If you were to Google, browser inspector guide to performance measurement, it would tell you which of these guys here is the right thing to use. This will come back and tell us something about the performance of the site, hopefully. Actually, one easy way to do this is just stop using that JavaScript, just comment it out or turn it off. How have you implemented this? What technique did you use? Are you there, Jackson?
Jackson.
No, this was somebody else. This was
Whale. Whale, are you there, Will?
Yes, I am. I'm here now.
How did you implement this JavaScript script?
I got the there's a plugin in WP.
And what's it called? What's it called?
Let me quickly go to the back end and check for it.
Right.
So
taking forever to happen. Anyway,
but what I noticed is because
we really need the name.
Yes, I'll give it to you. I'm trying to open it now.
Right.
1 minute.
It really slows down when it's in the mobile view.
Okay, it's called. Let me write it out.
Sorry?
I'm trying to write it out.
Right.
Type it in the chat box.
Sure. Jackson was kicked out by Windows 11 forced update. Oh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah, no, Windows 11 is getting bad press, and apparently deservedly so.
Well, I'm not playing with updates any longer because my Windows 7 running on a virtual machine does not have a connection to the internet. And so I needn't bother with, and the single application that it runs is such that there's no security issues because it's locked up. And, and so
okay, I typed it in the chat box.
Okay, so
it's an add-on for Elementor.
Okay, so let me just see what that comes up with. Okay, there it is. Come on. So is this is a pro add-on? Meaning you have to pay for it?
No, the add-on I didn't have to pay for it, but I have a pro account. I have
right. Once you buy Pro, then this
I have an Elementor Pro, but right. I added it on from plugins. I just went to plugins, added a new plugin, and it was
right. Now the reason I've asked for this is because if this is presumably comes from Elementor, right?
I think
no, it's from a company called .net.
Right. I'm looking at its page right now, and well, the reason I ask is simply because as a plugin, you should be able to turn it off.
Yes, I can. I can if I want to.
Okay, and the reason I'm suggesting that is that if you run the GTmetrix test with it, with the plugin running the script, and then you test it again with the plugin turned off, deactivated, whatever, then you'll find out from that what impact it has on your performance.
Yes, I've actually done that, and I see that it actually slows down, the JavaScript usually to slow down the site. But
Yes,
I'm trying
how
to
much?
see
By how much?
if there's a way I can actually.
Yes, but by
keep
how
it-
much?
Oh, okay. I don't remember now, but
Well,
I've
is it
actually
like
done that.
2 seconds, 10 seconds, 1/4 of a second?
It's 1/4 of a second.
If it's 1/4 of a second, I wouldn't say that's material.
It's very fast.
Right, so I wouldn't be concerned if it's a 1 second performance penalty. If you like this particular animation.
Yes,
right?
I like it. But,
Yeah, I like it too. And so I would consider a 1/4 second performance penalty to be a reasonable price for something that's really cool.
Okay.
Plus, it's interactive. I mean, anybody who puts their mouse up there is going to play with this for 5 seconds. And,
Before they
and,
go
and,
click
and
on
that's called, getting someone's attention,
attention. Okay.
right? Engagement, I guess, is the fancier term for what we're talking about. But engagement is very valuable. Anything you can do to increase engagement is desirable.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say, guys?
Well, and, what's engagement versus distraction?
Mhm.
Agreed. But we're, in theory, one would expect that engagement relates to whatever the primary goal of the site is. If it's business development and lead generation, if it's education, if it's e-commerce, then if it distracts from that mission, it's definitely a no-no.
It's right on the margin.
Right. Okay, Whale, anything else that we can help you with?
Yes, my other question is I wanted to get advice regarding a very good caching plugin. Currently, I use the WP Optimize, but do you think there's any other one that's better than that if you've tried?
Well, Jack,
Yeah.
you're used to comparing caching plugins, right?
Yep.
What would you recommend?
It's strange because we have a case here of headless WordPress being used. Take a look at the GTmetrix and you'll see that all the page is not visible because it's projected on as a JavaScript HTML construct. It's strange. Elementor just bought a company that delivers Elementor pages as faster, delivers pages that are much faster because they're headless WordPress pages. This looks like exactly that.
Is it headless or static?
No, it's called headless WordPress. It's fairly new, within the last year and a half.
Yeah, not exactly new, but yeah, I think headless is a synonym for, static sites are included in the same category as headless, in that they use the back end to deliver content somewhere, somehow, which is then generates either static pages or
right on,
or the page content is somehow taken out of the database so that the server and database's responsiveness is taken out of the equation, and the pages are delivered by another process.
right? Usually a CDN.
Well, a CDN's much broader in that dynamically generated and static and headless are all benefit from content some CDNs. So where is it that you're getting this from this GT metrics page? Where do you get this thing about headless?
Well, it's just that if you go to WP Tavern, they're covering it a lot more
No,
closely.
I'm looking at the GT metrics for the site in question. Where do you get the idea that this is a headless use of WordPress?
Because look at the page that it shows you for if you do the GT metrics on the home page there, and there's nothing underneath it. There's absolutely nothing underneath it. Take a look.
Okay, underneath it.
Just the site title, that's it, bang. And I don't even think it's the site title, it's index of page or something like that. Let's see.
Okay, well, this is your site, right? Just, I don't want to use the wrong person's name here.
Yes, yes, it is.
Right. So do you know whether this is a sort of a straightforward WordPress self-hosted site, or this is one of these not special category, but a different type of way to use WordPress called headless?
Yeah.
Do you happen to know whether that's the case or not?
Well, it's I know it's hosted on. I have a hosting service. I use InMotion hosting.
Right. But
And,
you know, does this term headless mean anything to you?
No.
Okay. So, is it likely that he's using a headless service without even knowing the name? I know, for example, on WP Engine, that they have this module called Atlas, which provides headless use of a WordPress site hosted by WP Engine, so that it's conceivable that you could get the benefits of headless without knowing that is what you're doing. But not having used it, I can only tell you that much about it. But normally going headless is a serious technical, architectural decision that you make that involves a transition and a bunch of sort of changes in the way you interact with the site in terms of maintaining and developing it.
Okay.
So if you're not aware of any of that, I would tend to think, I mean, it's a nice looking site. If looking like a business-like site is your goal, you've accomplished it.
Thank you.
Anyway, let me turn off that sharing. So anything left to consider on your site? We're almost out of time.
No, I'm good. I'm good. But I didn't get the updates regarding the catching plugin, the best plugin for catch.
Right, Jack, that was to you, or Drew.
Yeah.
Fast. It goes through the menu items, bang.
Yeah.
We're on to caching plugins.
Yeah, in this case, because it's on InMotion hosting, if you're using the InMotion's WordPress managed hosting, they support the Lightspeed web server. I don't know whether that's automatically installed on all their accounts or not. It's in most hosts, it's an extra cost option, but it's definitely worth it if you want the speed. It's a lot faster, especially if you use it with the matching Lightspeed cache. It's pretty hard to beat that speed. So make sure that the InMotion has got you on the Lightspeed web server with the Lightspeed cache.
Okay, thank you, Drew.
And obviously, Drew, that's you had an account or a client on InMotion, and this is what your experience is.
That's what people's experience is with the Lightspeed server and cache. And I'm looking at the I'm looking at the InMotion page now and just confirmed that they are running Lightspeed.
Yeah, can you give us a URL for that? Just for completeness sake?
Sure.
Because I have
Yeah.
actually
Oh,
on
okay.
a quite inexpensive hosting account. They use that server for all accounts, even the cheapest ones. And I don't remember if it was an add-in or plug-in, but the caching sort of part, if it wasn't sort of automatically provided, then it was like a one-click to activate it because it was to everyone's benefit. Smaller load on the server, faster speeds for the site. So both the host and the user of the site want caching to work. Okay, but well, is that to take care of you?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you, Drew.
well,
Thank
we're
you,
down
Jack.
to just a handful. So if either Kim or Karim has anything further to ask, and if not, I think we're done this session.
No, it looks like Jackson has disconnected. I thought we were actually working on something with him, and that when he got disconnected.
Yeah, he hasn't come back since then.
He actually did come back, but he's gone again.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see him in the list either.
And Kim asked when, or just signed out.
Yeah, so unless anybody has anything further to add, it's just almost 8:30. This has been an exciting session. At least.
Yes, yes. So sorry. Basically, I have the last question. So basically, I just need your email.
Okay, whose email? Robin's email?
Yeah,
Sure.
your email. So basically, when I'm able to log in, I will be able to screenshot it to you.
Sure. That's my email.
All right. Yeah, wait a moment. I'm saving it.
Yeah, you know that if you look at the bottom of the chat window, there's that little 3-dot menu.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
If you click on that, the very first item there says save chat. And what that does is generates a text file with all the chat messages in it.
Copy. Yeah. Okay.
And drops it into a folder called Zoom somewhere on your, C drive if it's Windows, or your main drive if you're a Mac.
Yeah, I'm actually on Mac. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm right now copying your email, and maybe when I'm able to log in, I will maybe screenshot it to you, and maybe we'll start
Sure.
later on.
Sure.
By email. Thank you.
Okay, guys.
Very much. Have
I
a
think
good day.
it's time to wrap up. Thanks for everyone's
I'm sorry.
contribution.
You said, how do I get the chats to download?
Right. And when you look at the window, the chat window,
okay,
right at the bottom where you would type a message, if you look just to the right of that, there are 3 icons: a folder, smiley face, and then 3 dots. Click the 3 dots.
Wow, I don't see it.
Okay, are you down at the bottom where you would type?
Yes,
in
I'm at the
message?
bottom. I have chats, share screen, live transcripts, reactions.
Let me see if I can find.
There's no 3 dots.
The 3 dots. Okay, well, are you sure that you've got the chat window displayed?
Oh, okay. I need to display it. Oh, okay. Oh, yes, I see the 3 dots. Okay, now I see it. Save
and
chat.
the 3 dots,
okay.
the very first item is save chat.
Yes, thank you. I got it.
and if we were running the transcript, that works the same way. You display the transcript, and then you can save it, and you'll get a text file dropped on your machine under the folder name Zoom at the root of your file system.
Okay.
Which is, say, the top level of folders.
Yeah. Got it.
All right.
Thank you.
Time to sign off. Thanks a lot, Drew.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Good night, everybody. Good night, Karim. Bye.
Good night.
I should save the chat.